I want to welcome everybody here, January 3rd, 2007, 6 o'clock straight up. This time, we'd like approval of the agenda. We have some postponements on this agenda due to lack of legal counsel. Anela Ben J. Patel's beer license application will be postponed to the next meeting, and executive session, litigation, and personnel will also be postponed to the next meeting due to lack of legal counsel. Attorney Frank Child's wife broke her ankle today, and he's seeing about her needs, so like I said, our prayers are out to him. At this time, we've got, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Y'all had an opportunity to look at it?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Any discussion? I need in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This time the invocation will be led by Alan J. Schuler Jr. of Victory Temple Church.
I'd like to say Happy New Year to each and every one that's here.
Happy New Year.
Shall we not pray? Father God, we thank you for your loving kindness and your tender mercy. Oh God, we thank you for your providence that you have blessed this duly elected board to once more meet again in the new year. We pray, oh God, for your eternal wisdom in all situations. We pray for the prosperity of Jones County, for the wisdom that it takes to lead and to be blessed under your providence. We pray, oh God, that everything we do and say would be according to your will and your way. We pray, oh God, that the citizens of this county will continue to be blessed, and that everything we do and say would be for the health and well-being of this community. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen.
Amen.
Shall we not do the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Reverend, thank you very much. There's nothing on the agenda for planning and zoning tonight. Chairman announcements and boards appointments. This time we have some reappointments. Reappoint Frank Childs, county attorney. I need a motion for this reappointment.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 2, chairman announcements, reappoint of Ms. Margie Tyson, county clerk. I need a motion for reappointment.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Any second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Ms. Carey. Ready? Number 3, we have a election of vice chairman. Do we have a nomination for the vice chairman at this time? I know Mr. Tommy has been vice chairman in the past, and if y'all want to continue that with him as vice chairman, or do you have a different nomination? It has to be between, my understanding, between the 3 incumbents. It can't be a newcomer. That's what my understanding is. It can't be a newcomer because of experience.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
I just said interesting. Because Sam has more experience in government than all of us combined.
Right.
That's my understanding. I mean, I don't know. Is that what you understand, Jason, or do you know for a fact?
I haven't seen that in the ordinances, but I couldn't speak for sure on that.
Just want to table it to the next meeting?
Sure. If y'all would like to do that, we can table it the next meeting. Is that fine?
Fair enough.
All in favor?
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Okay, number 4 on the reappointments, we have a reappointment Jennifer Goldsberry to the Board of Health for a 6-year term, 1/1/2017 through 12/31/2022. I need a motion to reappoint Ms. Goldsberry to this position.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous on that. Number 5 on the list, we have a reappointment of Ms. Rose Holder to the Tax Board Assessors Board for a 6-year term of 1/1/2017 through 12/31 of 2022. Need a motion to reappoint Ms. Holder.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, so express by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 100%. Number 6 on the appointments. Appoint John Wood to the Tax Assessors Board to replace Hoyt Brown, whose term was up at 12/31/2016 for a 6-year term of 1/1/2017 through 12/31/2022. I need a motion to appoint John Wood. We've got a motion, and we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, with aye?
Aye.
Unanimous. Number 7. Am I getting too fast? Appoint Thad Childs to the River Edge Community Service Board to complete the term vacated by Deborah Tooley Vinson. That expires on April 7th, 2017, and reappoint Mr. Childs for a 3-year term starting April 2017 to April 7th, 2020. I need a motion to appoint. We got a motion, we need a second.
Second.
All in favor says aye. Aye. Unanimous on the. Number 8, we have a reappointment Earlene Hamilton to the Planning and Zoning Board for a 5-year term that ends 12/31/2020. I need a motion from Ms. Earlene Hamilton.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second? We have a motion. Second. We have a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Unanimous on that. We have a consent agenda. Consent agenda and approval for minutes. Number 1 is a work session December 6, 2016 at 5 p.m. We have the first Tuesday meeting, December 6, 2016. And then we have also executive session on December 6, 2016. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Any errors on omission? If none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda approval minute.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second? Second. All in favor, with aye? Aye. Unanimous. I'm not going to be bad for you. We don't have anybody. We have some visitors tonight from the River North Homeowners Association Board of Order, Maine, Mr. Alan Watts and Mr. Carmen Beecher. Are they present? We'll have to straighten that failure up there. Our visitors hadn't showed up tonight. New business, we have approval to amend budget for new chief appraiser. Mr. Chrissy, I think you have that, don't you? Or Jason?
I can take that one.
That's totally wrong, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, what you have before you here tonight is, in your packets, you have a letter from the Board of Assessors requesting a budget amendment. And if it's okay, I can just read this brief letter. It says, the Jones County Board of Assessors would like to request a change to our fiscal year 2017 budget. We would like to move $6,000 from the line item known as mapping into salaries to cover both the overage caused by the overlap between the outgoing chief appraiser, Linda Sibley, and the incoming chief appraiser, Tony L. George, and an additional salary for Tony L. George, as well as an increase for Kim Adams due to acquiring certification through the Department of Revenue. We request that the Board of Commissioners vote to allow us to move this budget item to cover the expenses. And so that's the request that you have before you tonight.
Does any of the commissioners have any questions on this request? Commissioner Dallin, go ahead.
The first question I have is, what is mapping? Can anybody tell me what mapping is?
I can tell you.
Well, we have Mr. Gordon. You'd like to come up and introduce yourself?
I'll be able to tell you better than anybody else here. I'm Tony L. George. I'm the new chief appraiser here. It's good to meet all of you. Let me first say I come to Jones County with 25 years of experience. I worked in 4 different states. Georgia is my home. I've been an assistant chief in Fulton. I worked in Rockdale, and I was the chief appraiser in Campbell County. I'm an appraiser 4, certified by the Department of Revenue and in good standing. So I come here, I'm willing to work with all of you, and I'm looking forward to working with you and the citizens of Jones County. Mapping has to do with our GIS. That has to do with when someone wants to split a property. We have to do that internally, but then we send it to a third-party vendor for them to reconfigure the maps. So that's mapping. So it has to do with probably our third-party vendor that we use.
Okay,
For that
so
amount of money.
if we move that, does that mean we won't be,
No, it doesn't mean that. Usually you put the same amount in. I didn't have anything to do with the budget, so that was already approved. But usually you don't have the same amount of mapping expenses that you usually would have every year. You have to put it in there just in case, but usually you may not have it.
okay, and now that you reviewed it, what's the total budget for mapping? Is it $6,000 or is it some other number?
It's some other number.
Okay, and once you remove this from mapping, we won't put it back in because this is not what we call it, soft money per se. This is hard money for a fixed line.
I
item.
understand. No, we won't put it back in.
So permanently, we're going to just map and cover the difference in salaries.
Correct.
All right, Sam.
Commissioner, follow up on Commissioner Martin's. If we have a set amount for mapping that's an unknown, and we take it out this year, and we still have an unknown next year, how do we know that we won't need that 6,000 back next year? And if we do need it, where's it gonna come from next year?
Well, where it's gonna come from next year? It'll probably come from the increase in valuations for the county. Are you talking about my budget per se?
Well, there's a request to move 6,000 from one line item to another, so it's gonna decrease that line item. If there's an unknown in that line item, which is why we put the same amount every year, then next year, if that same amount is needed and that 6,000 is needed, it's gonna have to come from another line item or increase your budget.
Well, no, it won't, because you won't have the same scenario next year.
How's that?
Because you're dealing with a outgoing chief appraiser that is still on the payroll. Next year, that chief appraiser won't be on the payroll.
Right, but your salary would be larger than the outgoing chief appraiser, and fixed-wise, we don't recover that expense
Right, but it's only a $900 difference.
this year, but next year and the years to come, and then factor in the 2% or 4% increases, it does matter.
It's still only $900 plus the 2 or 4%. It's not nowhere near $6,000. You understand what I'm trying to say here? The $6,000 is not my salary. The $6,000 is part of the outgoing chief appraiser's vacation time that she's still owed because she's still on the books. That's where the money's going to. It's not going to me.
Well, the second part is just a comment. I believe it's our duty to be as fiscally responsible with our budget as possible. And I think it was kind of presumptuous to assume, in my opinion, that we're going to increase the budget for a higher salary for somebody coming in the door. And it's no reflection of your expertise or your experience at all. We've held tight to salaries in the past, this board has, and I think it was a little presumptuous for the board to offer you a salary that had not been approved and had not been done in any other department.
I agree.
Commissioner Robinson, would you like to comment? Mr. Pitts?
No, from my understanding, this is the board's recommendation to go. Made this recommendation to the board, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Board of Tax Assessors, this is their business. Now, whether we increase their budget next year or not, that's our business.
Correct.
So, I mean, this is what the Tax Assessor Board wants to do, it's fine with me. But like I said, next year's budget will be on our table.
Any more questions?
No, sir.
We'll need a motion at this time.
So I make a motion that we approve the amending the budget for the chief appraiser.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor of aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
I'm about to go no also.
Thank you, Commissioners. Nice to meet you all.
Likewise.
This time we've got number 2 on the new business. We have Georgia Power easement request. I think we have some Georgia Power representatives in the audience like to speak.
Good evening to y'all.
Big.
My name is Tony Orozco. I work for Georgia Power's Land Department, and
I'm Leonard Lindsay, I'm the local representative here in Georgia Power, in Georgia.
I don't know if you have a copy of our easement in front of you, but the title of this project is a copper replacement project, and what we're doing is replacing the copper hardware on some of our line with aluminum, which is more reliable and dependable. Another thing we're doing with this project is connecting an existing line that we have on US 129 with some line that exists on Widener Road over here, across from the cow pasture. To do so, we'll have to attach ourselves to our lines to Tri-County EMC lines. And how this affects Jones County property is we need to install or construct a power line on this western side of the parcel we're actually on now. It's going to include 5 new poles, and a regulator platform. And we need an easement to do so. The easement will grant us permission to construct that line. It'll grant us rights to maintain it and upgrade it if need to in the future, and also to keep any obstructions within our easement area away from that line, and in case of an emergency, get to that line.
Exactly. Is there any questions from the board for these 2 gentlemen?
I'm looking at the map. I know north is that way, and it shows Industrial Boulevard. Platform's gonna be exactly where?
There's an existing tree that we need to remove.
A
It's
tree?
the only tree that, well, you have a line of trees on that western side of the property. This tree is an outlying tree. It's closer to the road. We'll need to remove it, and that's the general area where that platform will go.
Okay, you're from Jones County. Tell me where this,
You got a line of Bradford pears going
Okay.
down basically the property line out there, and then just in front of that, you've got pecan tree.
okay.
And the pecan tree is gonna have to be cut or trimmed,
Removed.
removed. The pecan tree will have to be removed.
Does that tree belong to anybody or was donated by anybody's grandpa or grandma? I'm just curious.
I remember it was this high when I was going to school here, so it's been there a while. Not that I'm old, but you know.
One other comment I would like to make too, another part of this project is the reliability of the people that live up in the Round Oak, Wayside area. A huge customer being the nursing home, and this will help the reliability of that nursing home. That is one of the major reasons why we're taking this opportunity to do it, as well as tie back into our other line up on Eaton Highway.
I got you. I'm just asking because if we have to, if somebody wanted that tree and we could relocate it, I'd be happier if we had to, but if there's no nostalgic attachment to it, for those that grew up here, because I'm not from here, I was just asking. I'm okay.
We would probably have to replant that tree. I doubt you can move that tree.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Tommy, you got any questions for the gentleman?
There's no other known land uses in that area that it might affect future planning that we know of.
If there's no more questions, I'd like to need a motion on the floor for approval of this Georgia Power easement.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 3 on new business. Item 3 on new business is approve the radar list for Jones County 1216-169. Mr. Mr. Risner, is this something you have? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
I don't have a whole lot of information. I can share, basically there's a list that has to be approved. I guess it works through a DOT process that outlines where the sheriff's department is authorized to run radar in the county. And so you have in your packets a list that has those roads and shows you, tells you the areas on those roads where radar use is permitted. And so periodically, this board has to approve that list.
Has everybody had an opportunity to look at that list? Any questions? If not, we need a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. All right, we have a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And we have, item number 4. Approval to go out for bid on the courthouse roof. Mr. Bonner, I think this is your.
Good afternoon to everybody.
Gentlemen.
I'm here and ask for approval, kind of an emergency situation to go out for bids for the courthouse roof. I've been up like twice. I think you got in your package some of the roof, some of the pictures. We're looking at, 2 sections, there's a total of 1,452 square feet. You should have one that's highlighted of the roof in the area I'm talking about, and the slope. I recommend go back with a TPO roof, ice board, 2-inch ice board. We had that put on at the water department. It's been very successful. We kept it's working good all the rain we had. That's all I need right now is approval to go out for bid.
Is there any questions for Mr. Bonner?
Lay it on me.
Mr. Martin?
Let Sam go.
I see a roof scuttle. How much access is on the roof from the roof scuttle?
You talking about going up through the scuttle here?
Yeah, not on the
It's
roof.
very small. It's probably, the
I guess
scuttle,
I'm asking how much activity is on the roof. A TPO roof is really, if you're walking around on it,
well, it's no activity as far as going up just to
nothing
repair a roof. There's nothing, no air conditions, none of that. I mean, that's really, I recommend this type roof. And this, the one over at the, water department, so I think it's like 60 mils. I mean, you can take a knife and stick it through it and it'll seal right back up. It's pretty tough. They come a long ways with this tight roof. And you can do all the walls, you can go and cover it, and cap it. It's very durable. We got the same type roof on that gym out here too, the barrel type roof.
And just for my own education, do you write the specs for when we put them out, or we use manufacturer specs, or do you rely on?
Well, basically, I write my recommendations, what I wanted and what we've been successful with in the past, I had a previous bid with L.E. Swartz and Sons, which is, they use their engineers, they come in and kind of recommend what we need. When it goes out for bids, it'll be the same way, they'll give you recommendations and then we'll sit down and make the best choice.
And you oversee the installation to make sure you get.
Oh, yes.
2 inches by 2.
Yeah. This is like pulling teeth.
I know.
Mr. Pitts, you got Mr. Robinson, do you have a question for him? No. Mr. Martin, you through? My question, how are we gonna pay for this? What are you gonna pay?
This is Splash, we have $75,000 in Splash money with the roof Splash. It's probably gonna be between 20 and 25,000, my estimate.
Okay, very well. At this time, if everybody's satisfied with the quick question.
Life expectancy on that particular roof?
I think it's about 50 years
All right, so
now.
many of us will be retired and gone.
I'll be gone by then.
Okay.
But
All right.
I think the one on the gym, it's been out here for 5 years with no problem.
Okay.
The one on the water department's been there for a little less than a year and it's doing a real good job.
Judge, you'll be happy?
Yeah, the new judge would be very happy because it's a part of their office.
I'm good.
If everybody's satisfied with any questions, this time we need a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Can we have those 2 rooms now in the bottom of the?
I give them up to Matt today. And now I got what I want.
So you give them, okay.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Potter. Number 5's been postponed. Number 6, discussion of a closeout audit. I can elaborate on this. Commissioner Kitchens and I, last week, I believe it was, had opportunity to sit down with the county auditors. We had some concerns, or more, we had questions more than anything. Through our campaign, we were all promising accountability and transparency, and this is step number 1 to live up to our promise of our campaign. In our discussion with the auditors, we're currently through having a current audit right now that will be through and due end of February. Not to put any more work on our finance department. They suggested we wait till the current audit is completed, give them a opportunity to come back and with some proposals. These proposals are compliance audits that we were more, I was asking more about the compliance audit to make sure that everything we do is in compliance so that we go forward by the book and do it correctly. They had some good input on different ideas, but they did ask to wait till after the current audit is completed so they could sit down with the board and discuss options they could work with us on. Anybody got any questions? Commissioner Kitchens, you want to elaborate on the meeting?
Well, one other point they did make is that during this year's audit, which is normal procedure, they would bring up any concerns, questions to the board. And we asked that when they give us a report this year, a lot of times after so many years of doing audits, they just give you a 10 or 15 minute overview of your audit. We requested that they give us a little more time this year to kind of go into detail of what we're doing and how we're doing it, make sure we're doing it the right way. Because I think everybody on this board at one point or another during their campaign brought out accountability and transparency, and I think that's number 1 on our list.
Commissioner Pitt?
Don't have any comments.
Mr. Robinson, you have?
No, I think it's a good thing.
Commissioner Martin, any?
I'm excited that we're going to do something that gives you a line. The forensic audit, I think, would have cleared up and exposed a lot more. But the reality is, if you're not going to do anything with the forensic audit details, and it doesn't do you any good, and you spent a lot of money to get it done. With regard to this, we need to really look closely at who we're paying. And as you all are signing checks, this will be new experiences for you and new ones for you as well, that we kind of look closely at who we're cutting checks to. And really, I'd like to stop the outside expenditures that we're having right now till we understand who we're paying and why we're paying them. Because there are a lot of checks that get cut in this county, and people don't know where they go to. I'm not a fan of paying landscapers when we have a public works department that cuts grass and a parks and recs department that cut grass. It doesn't make sense to me. And if we have a plumbing group or a water department that has all the capabilities of laying pipe and doing that other stuff, and public works employees that can do the same, I don't like that we're spending $70,000 to $110,000 a year outside to do things like that. So looking across the board with regard to this, again, I think it warrants everybody taking a really hard look at it, stopping the outside expenditures and looking really closely at what we're doing internally. And if we can do it in-house, and we do it in-house, then let's get it done that way and start saving some money. So,
thank you. Number 6 was for discussion purposes. Number 7 is discussion of commission board structure. I'm gonna turn this over to Commissioner Kitchen.
Yeah, this is something I was looking at for the last year or so, and I'm not sure how we got to this point, because our org chart and our structure for this board is, the way we're doing it is not exactly the way we signed on with ACCG, or how they've got us registered. And so when we went to Commissioners Training 101, we met with a lot of other commissioners, and one of the questions we asked was, and researched was, is anybody other than us doing it this way? And we couldn't find anybody that had and what I mean by this, some department heads are under the board and some are under the county administrator. In my opinion, that gives, on both sides, gives some discrepancies we need to be crystal clear in our expectations of department heads, and they need to be crystal clear of not only what's expected, but who they answer to and what they're expected to do. And I think if we don't have everybody on the same page, that opens the door for some issues between department heads. And I don't think that's fair to them for us to do that to them. So I really don't know how we got here, but I'd like to see us go back to the org chart that we have designed, and that is for this structure, which is a part-time chair, part-time commissioners, county administrator type government, has all the department heads answer to the administrator answers to the board of commissioners. And with that, it allows us to, and for our part is, we're beholden to the taxpayers, and we're expected to answer when they have a question for us or they need information from us. I think that's our job. And so we don't want to cut off our hand to spite our face and damage the relationship between the department heads and the commission. But we do have to have a pretty good grasp on what their expectations are. And so I think for the board to agree to go through the county administrator on any request of a department head, information from a department head, that's totally, in my opinion, that's totally acceptable and should be the communication issue. So I don't know if we need a motion to go back, because we're obviously not doing what our charter says we're doing. So do we need a motion to go back or to agree to comply to the draft of the org chart that we're supposed to be under?
Any questions?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I would say that how it got here, without beating this dead horse, more had to do with personalities and the commission. This is probably one of the heavy-handedest commission board in the state in terms of how commissioners have engaged department heads and employees. We've had commissioners that would take department heads off their regular workday and ride with them and be on jobs, as opposed to allowing them to do their work. So that's part of the challenge. We've had, historic issues with commissioners probably wielding a lot of power and making those department heads feel like, hey, we can terminate you because I've got 2 or 3 votes. And as a result, those people work at the bequest or behest of the commissioners, as opposed to the administrator. And unfortunately, we got out of whack. And one of the challenges, finance department in particular, when you have an administrator that tells a finance director to write a check for something that may not be legal, that was a problem. And we don't have any whistleblower protection here in Jones County. People have been terrified of telling the truth for ages. That's why things have gone on for however long. And hopefully we're past that. And that's a good reason to go back to a structure that makes sense, because now we have a personality that's a little bit different, and maybe one that works well with the entire board. And with that being said, I think it makes sense. Human resources has always been a standalone piece for me personally, because if they had an issue with the administrator, they had no one to go to. Because if they wanted to go to him, he reports to him. So how do you go to the subordinate to complain about the boss? But I understand the structure, because I reviewed it heavily when I first got here to fully understand the system I was a part of. So if this is the board's will, that's fine. I think we just need to understand there's certain roles that I think may be a little different, and human resources would be different. But if it is the board's will and pleasure, it is what it is. But understand that we should put some whistleblower protection in, because right now there isn't. And if he tells her to cut a check or instruction of the department to do something different, then we have a problem. The second issue was about county administrators being able to tell an employee what to do. I can't tell John to go move a piece of equipment, and no commissioner should be able to do so. That has happened, and there have been some pieces of equipment outside of the county. So from this point forward, I would agree that we need to have a separate vote. One, go back to this, but also that department heads also know that you're protected by the same board and the same rules that we're getting ready to vote on. No commissioner should tell the department head what to do. We should go through him. And I don't mind CCing John and whomever when I'm having a conversation, because that's how it should be. And they should not be threatened by any one commissioner or two or three. So I think that's a good idea.
But how would you structure the human resources? Just leave it as is, or are you gonna do it differently?
Well, right, we separate it because of personality.
Right.
So I'm okay with putting it this way because we don't have a better way right now.
Well, in an org chart, if you'll notice, your solid line goes through the county administrator. County administrator doesn't have the power to hire or fire people. The board of commissioners do.
Y'all understand that?
So when a department head who works at the pleasure of the board does not have whistleblower sanctities, but they do have the power to come to the board and come to the chairman and say, bring this up in a closed door, in a closed session. And just like with if an employee had a problem with their department head, they come to the county administrator. If a department head has a problem with the county administrator, they go over his head to the commission. And then the commission goes into an executive session to discuss the issue.
And you just explained chain of command, and we need to re-educate our employees to what that means, because they had not known that, or they did not trust the chain of command.
It's chain of command and span of control, you know.
Amen.
So,
I like it.
Any more discussion? So would you like to, how you would phrase your motion?
I would phrase the motion in the form that we adopt the organizational chart passed out in our handouts to reflect the structure of the board moving forward.
Second.
And we got a second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any discussion? Okay, I thought you get ready to talk again.
That would include Commissioner Martin's comments about department heads directly, relationship directly to the board.
Okay.
Amen.
You got it?
I'm good.
All right. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Amen.
All right. Number 8 on the new business. Discussion of Commissioners' Work Session and Retreat. This also includes department heads. So it's very same what we just talked about chain of command. We'd like to find a date that's good for everybody, that we can all meet and have this opportunity to clear the air of what we expect. What's happened in the past is water on the bridge, but what's going forward is going to be by the book. And that's what we want to reflect on this retreat. If anybody else has any comments to elaborate on it? Commissioner Kitchens, you and I talked with this great lengths about having this retreat, and I think we spoke with all of them on this. Have you got any comment?
My comment is I don't like to meet.
Meet to meet.
I like to meet to have an agenda and get something done. So when they're looking at it, I'd ask that the administrator and the clerk look for time, date, location, and also go ahead and start doing the preparatory work with the department heads, as in, you know, so we can look at how the strategic plan is going to play out.
Sure. Commissioner Pitts, you got any?
Second that motion.
Commissioner Robinson?
No, I'm fine with it.
Commissioner Martin?
I'm excited. For our taxpayers, please don't be offended that we have to do this. This is a necessary thing to get us all on the same page. We're not going up to the Ritz-Carlton or the Reynolds Plantation. I have no idea where we're going to be. But this is well worth it to get everybody on the same page, clear the air, set some vision goals and expectations, and get the county on the same page. I've been to a lot of meetings with a lot of people, and I sit next to people who know where the county's going. And I think it's great that we're getting ready to go there. And I think we ought to review as homework the comprehensive plan before we go. So that's the school teacher in me. Go back and look at your comprehensive plan. It tells you where the county's supposed to be for the next 20 years, right? We just got a bypass zone that probably was in the first page of the comprehensive plan. So that's the homework assignment. Go look and see, and then come with a vision. I mean, I don't know what John's vision is for his department, but you should have one. Same thing, Freddie. What are the priorities? Where's the water and sewer going? Amen. So likewise, across the board, we should have that expectation, and we should hear from the chairman what the vision is for the county. I'm excited.
Put me on the spot, aren't you? That's all right, I'm used to it.
Amen.
Well, that's great. We can come up with a schedule if we can come up with a time that works with everybody and a place. My favorite word is more cheaper, more better. So like I said, we really don't need the Ritz-Carlton, but we just need a nice location we can go and meet and go from there. All right, no more discussion on that. Old business.
Oh, motion? Do we need a motion for that?
I don't think we need a motion.
It's consensus.
Yeah, we'll need a motion once they come back with a date and time and
Sure.
all that, I think.
We just got to find a time to work before we can come up with a motion on that, I would think. That's just for discussion purposes. All right. Old business, animal control facility bids. Mr. Risner, I think this is your.
Yes, sir. At the last meeting, there was some discussion about some interest in trying to determine where we stand on the overall cost of the project. Not just the items that we bid out, but also some of the other items that are outside of Scott Jackson's scope. And so we've spent the last few weeks working on and refining a cost estimate to see where we stand. We've also worked on identifying some additional funds. We looked at different borrowing options if we had to go that route. Before I get to the cost estimate, I will tell you that we were able to find some money in the 2009 SPLOST that can go towards this project. We have about $100,000 in that 2009 SPLOST that we can put towards this project. That brings us to $300,000 that we have available for the project. On the cost estimate that you have in your packet, there's still a few things there that we're ironing out, but with the healthy contingency factored in, 10% contingency, we're at $285,746. So I feel good about that number, and that's with $26,000 worth of contingency factored in there. So I feel like we've got some breathing room, and I think we've captured all the big items here, and that's total. That's all in. I believe you also may have in your packet tonight a updated handout from Scott Jackson, and I think he's here if y'all have questions. He's been able to obtain some pricing for some of the items that weren't bid on previously, and those have all been factored into this cost estimate. So my recommendation to you tonight is to award the low bids that were received last month and reviewed, and so that we can go ahead and get started on the project.
With that price, that did not include the paving of the parking lot. That was just gravel only on the parking lot.
That's correct, gravel lot.
And just, tell us again, how much do we have for this project, fund balance now, and then how much are we taking from 2009 as well?
There was $200,000 available.
Right.
And then this will be $100,000 coming from the 2009 SPLOST.
And that 100,000 from the 2009 was not earmarked for anything else? Did anybody have hopes for it or thoughts for it or any of that?
Not that I know of. I met with our finance director, and she pointed towards that money as something that would be available for this.
Because I just coming in fresh, I would hate to agree to something that, we thought this water line was going to get done, or we thought this roof was going to get done, or we thought this with that money, just not knowing what it was dedicated for before.
Right.
I'm curious to know what it was voted on for.
Construction.
Infrastructure.
It's in an infrastructure line item right now. I'm not sure what the original intention of it was.
Other money that was in that account, what was it spent on?
I'd have to check and see. I'm not real sure.
It was water lines. There was like three things in there in that line item under infrastructure, which is, in my opinion, very broad based. you know, SPOS need to be very specific, what the people are voting on to spend their money on. I think SPOS is the best way ever to have other people help pay for our needs, but not, you know, because you could say infrastructure, that can mean building this desk, building a new building, or go out and buy, you know, another one.
Right, right. And over the course of a SPOS, you have some projects that cost more than you budgeted, some cost less, and so you, you know, can, as you get towards the end of it, which we are past the end of this one, you know, occasionally you can use money for other projects from savings in other places. So that may be what this is, but I don't know that for sure.
As long as we don't have an infrastructure need that's out there waiting for this 100,000, and we're gonna pull it from that to do this, it's great. It's a great find.
I think we've had a problem with that very thing. We haven't really known what money was where and how much and what it was earmarked for. This account was news to me.
Just all of us.
Hence item number 6.
No, close that out.
Mr. Resident, does that, number you give us, does that count the $10,000 that Mr. Jackson has received in contributions?
No, it does not.
So we've got, I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson, can you update us on your contributions to date? If you don't mind. Last minute, put you on the spot.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, well, you can announce.
Yeah, hang on a second, I'll write you a check for this, too, ain't no problem. We, as most everybody knows, I guess, we've been doing a sponsor kennel program for the new building. Every dog kennel is $400, the puppy kennels are $200, and the cat cages are $100. And I've been able, through talking to people and doing different things, also receiving just donations from people, we've got up to right at $10,000 that's earmarked for the new building fund. So, and we've got a lot more to go. Hopefully by the time we actually start the building or get almost done with it, we'll have them all done, which should put us around 20,000. Hopefully.
That's great.
That's great.
Thanks, Trevor. Looks good so far, though. All right.
Thank you very much. Well, any other discussion?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I know part of the discussion about that infrastructure fund, we found $100,000 that could go towards the animal control facility, but there are some additional funds that may be available. And I'd like us, if not have a presentation from Jason and or Levita as of these funds, and then the board will make a decision where we can allocate the additional funds that were found. I want to say that maybe building and maintenance, they may need funds for future projects throughout the county. And if we could allocate those funds to building and maintenance, I think it'll be something that Bobby would appreciate, as well as any and everybody else that is using a county facility at this time. So I'd like you guys to give us a presentation with all the recommendations on where those funds are allocated.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion?
Just,
I don't mind doing this, but it just doesn't.
what's the balance in that last 2009 SPOS that you found this money
I
in?
mean, you got 80,000. We need to say, all right, it's going to go here.
You know?
I want to say it's in the $350,000 to $400,000 range, but I'd have to look to be sure.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any motions at this time to go with the recommendation of Mr. Resner?
Yeah.
We have a second.
Second.
If there's any discussion, I need a vote. Well, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Resner, you still got the floor. We got department heads. I'll go ahead and, I think you've got a few other things you'd like to talk about.
Yes, sir. Just a few things real quick. One thing I want to mention to the board, I've distributed before the meeting. I'm going to try to start doing a regular project update report for you that I'll distribute. I'll send out to you maybe a week or so before the meeting, and I can do that once a month, or I can do that before every meeting, but just a way to keep track of all the different projects we have going on in the county. And that's still a work in progress, so any feedback y'all can give me on that, on how to improve that. Second thing I wanted to mention to you, we had someone bring to our attention recently the county seal and the fact that we had still had the old Georgia flag in the seal. We have had that corrected and changed to the new Georgia flag on our website, and so going forward, any business cards or logos and that type of thing that are printed will have the updated logo on it. And the last thing I wanted to mention, you mentioned earlier the comprehensive plan. Just wanted to mention to everybody that is really the best opportunity to help plan for the future of Jones County. And we're working through that process right now, an update to that comprehensive plan. And wanted to extend an invitation to all of you here to come Monday night at 6 o'clock. We're having our next stakeholders meeting. It'll be over at the Tri-County offices, and we meet maybe once a month and lasts about an hour, and it's just a great opportunity to offer input on what you'd like to see in Jones County going forward. So, and that's about all I have. I'll be happy to take any questions on any of those things if y'all have them.
Anybody have any questions? If not, we're gonna move down. We have no citizens signed in for the 3 minutes. We need department heads this time, Mr. Graham.
Yes, sir. I'm honored to be standing before the new board. Appreciate you. Appreciate your confidence. I'm going to ask tonight, I thought that last meeting that we were going to put on the agenda that our radio system, we're still in need of our radio system. I have prepared a spec sheet, several pages long, of what we're looking to buy, and hopefully we can get it on the next agenda. The next thing I've got, I just want to reiterate about our weather. We dodged a bullet last night, and we've got more to come, except it's going to be in the form of freezing. I got a webinar tomorrow afternoon. Anybody's invited to come to my office at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon and listen to the National Weather Service, expecting something of sort of like what we had in 2012. I hope not. We spent close to $500,000, but FEMA was good to us. We were reimbursed $319,000 of that. So I hope we don't have that, but I do want to warn everybody out here in the audience to keep an eye out. My last thing is I'm actually proud of the chain of command. This is something that our department practices every day. Is incident command, and with the new structure, I think that it'll work a lot better. Also, meeting and having a picnic, it doesn't matter whether it's at the picnic table behind the building here.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we can sit down and look at our visions, and I think that our visions are strong, and I've just completed my 5 years. I'm well into my 10th year of my visions, and I'm ready for the board to look at the 15-year vision. And I'm just proud to be in front of you guys, and I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Mr. Lowe?
I appreciate y'all, and I come to y'all and ask if we could find another dirt pit. I sure would appreciate it. Help me out on that. Because, hey, that thing saved the county some money on rock. And we've been spending quite a bit, last couple of weeks with all the rain we done had on some of our dirt roads, putting rock down. Red places, but we done run out of dirt. We ain't got no more.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. Goins, you're hiding in the back.
I apologize for being late. I was in a inclusive playground meeting before this started, so I apologize for being late. Do want to update real quick that the playground fund that we have has reached $84,000.
All right.
So we are very close to our $100,000 goal. We met tonight, got 2 more fundraisers going to be kicking off here in a couple of weeks. So hopefully by the middle of this coming year, we'll reach our $100,000 goal to get that inclusive playground done and in place. Quick update on the park expansion. We are out for bid right now on our concession building, so I'm excited to see how those results come back. Hopefully I ain't got quite the headache Jackson got back there, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Other than that, excited with the new board, excited to hear what I heard tonight, and I look forward to working with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wiggins?
No.
No, sir. No comment. Any other department heads or you'd like to speak? Well, we got the commissioner's comment.
Bobby.
Bobby. Oh, I missed one. You're hiding. You're hiding. Keep me straight.
Like to welcome the board on and looking forward to working with everybody this year. I got a lot of plans for the building. What you see here is what we've done in-house. We're talking about doing it in-house. I'm all for doing stuff in-house because we got 5 men and we have a good staff and very talented. With the guys we got, we can build and plumb. And, this building needs a lot of stuff. One thing it needs replumbing to get quality of water back in the building. So a lot of stuff like that. Lighting needs to be changed in the courthouse. And these buildings here don't get up to par with LED lighting. Cost effective, we've done some analysis with Georgia Power. And we have a cost savings, it's a payback, 2.5 year payout. I think I talked to Mr. Delon about that. There's several projects we can do, I think it just will move us forward, but you can't do them all at one time. So I'm looking forward to doing that with y'all's will. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't miss anybody this time, man. This time, commissioner's comments. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Robinson?
I'm excited too for the way things are starting out, and something I hope that we can change going forward is department heads being required to be here. There's no reason going forward that they should be here. Our county administrator will be providing updates on all the projects, and if we have any questions ahead of the meeting, he can find out those answers if they have to be brought out in a meeting, or if there's something on the agenda, then of course that department head should be here, I believe. But I don't think any of them would be mad with us if they didn't have to sit here and suffer through these meetings.
Can you put that in motion, please?
Next meeting, yeah. I hope to have it on the agenda next meeting.
All y'all gotta show up for the next meeting.
That's all I've got. Thank you.
Mr. Martin?
I'm a doodler, and people always ask me, what am I writing? So I wrote excited, refreshed, renewed, about the direction we're going, about the board that we have, the leadership, about the county turnout. You're not just showing up just because you think something bad's going to happen, because y'all know how to pack the room, but you're excited to see what we're going to do, and it's refreshing. I wrote transparency, and especially for our citizens, for projects, bidding and sharing data and information. I hope that we can start to share that with our meeting attendees, where they can go and look at the same stuff we're looking at. So if you want to see the animal control building, you can see the numbers and what we're talking about. It encourages engagement. And I think, with the transparency and engagement, we get a better informed citizen. And I'm excited about that. Then I wrote, either that Survey Monkey or that chimp deal, kind of how we're doing, post us and see. Don't just come and badger us and throw us under the bus, but post us. But then also Margie being able to send out the updates and the information, not to just a select few, but anybody that wants to know. If you send her back an email, you're on the list, and now you get the agendas, you get the updates, you get the meeting information, and you get it live, so you know what's going on. And then I kind of flipped over to something personal. Please update my number on the board out front, because it still has that old county cell phone that I don't use. It's 256-9832 in case you need to reach me. Because I get yelled at by my citizens. They're like, we call you and you never answer the phone.
That's the wrong number.
Yeah, wrong number. And then over here, I wrote that there are 4 districts, and we are county commissioners, and that we represent all 4 districts as county commissioners. Equity in resources and distribution and attention is important. And if you don't do that, people will either rise or fall to the expectation or the example that you set. So District 4 will look like District 4 if you allow it to look like District 4. Or Gray will look like Gray because we demand that Gray looks like Gray. You know, and it looks different. When you drive in, that sign pops and it feels good. And you drive to District 4, it doesn't look quite the same. With that being said, Sam, I'm going to ask you to bring over from Bibb County the minimum standard of housing. Thank you. Next agenda item, pretty please. So if there's a dilapidated house, we're gonna get it torn down. And I don't want to drive down one street and find 8 dilapidated houses and owners out of town or even in town. And if they're a commissioner friend of ours, it is what it is. Gotta go. All right, so that's it. Happy New Year to all of you. Please come back to the new board appointees. We're excited to have you. Some fresh blood is what we need, and I'm excited about it. Let's go, let's go.
Thank you. Mr. Pitts, you're next.
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you, as well as Sam, for coming on board and looking forward to working with you guys. You guys bring a lot of good ideas, a lot of fresh ideas to the table. It's just an exciting time. It's a new day. It's a new term for all of us. I appreciate the voters for giving me this opportunity to serve you. And I'm going to do my best to serve you and try to meet your needs. I attended a church service yesterday to make it a better place for everybody in Jones County. So just once again, thank you. Look forward to working with you guys. Looking forward to this retreat, and just a better day's coming.
Commissioner Kitchens, you last.
I'm last. Well, I've heard the word excitement several times tonight, and I think it's, that's fitting, that it is exciting. For me, it's not so much things that are wrong that we can fix, it's things that we can improve. And, that's what's got me excited. I mean, I've made promises that I intend to keep, and, I just see there's so many areas that we can improve to be. Everybody looks at Jones County and says it's a great place to live, you know? Well, when you live there, I want it to be a great place to stay. So, I'm excited that we've got so many things that we can improve on. So, I ask a lot of questions, and I hope that people will take it as, eagerness, not overbearing, you know, just so many questions. So, with that, I ask a lot of questions, and I make some mistakes. My wife would debate that with me, but, I feel like if I don't make a mistake, then I'm not trying hard enough. So, you know, I learn from mistakes. So, ask for your patience with me, and looking forward to some good things.
Thank you. This time, citizens' comments. We've got 1 minute. Anybody like to speak?
Might be over a minute, is that all right?
So you're gonna be home close. For the record, would you please give us your name and your address?
Stephen Tingen, 206 Lower Lane. I'm like Sam, I don't meet to meet. I'm the mayor, never spoke at a commissioner's meeting. I don't think I've been to but 2. I like it. Like what y'all are saying, like what y'all are doing. Help some of y'all. Just proud. Some of the problems y'all are addressing. I'm excited, man. You know, it's real easy. Good government's boring. Sorry, Deputy, but good government is boring. There's a way that things are run. The system is set there. The system works. It's the people that sit at the table that mess up the system. So, thumbs up, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else for 1 minute? If there's nobody else at this time, need a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. All in favor?
Come in.
Aye.
The chairman has
Thank
come
you.
in tonight.
Thank everybody for coming. I've been talking all night. I've been talking all night. Really? Y'all broke me in. You broke me in right.